I'm Lynette Overmeyer with Mesa County's Child Welfare Division. Wanted to thank you for the opportunity to present this video to you to help you understand a little bit more about what we do as child welfare and how we can partner together with our school district partners to help keep the kids of our community safe.
I want to thank you all for the time and opportunity for our child welfare staff to talk with you about our processes here in child welfare, and we look very much forward to working with you in keeping our children, youth, and families safe here in Mesa County. Thank you.
Mesa County Human Services follows a set of specific values that drive the work we do every day. These values are inclusion, honesty, teamwork, humanity, and balance. Remembering these values and integrating them into our workplace allows us to come together to ensure the prosperity and stability of our community.
There are over 40 professions in the state of Colorado that are deemed by law to be mandatory reporters. One of them, obviously, is every school employee, both private and public schools. These are the professionals that see the children in our community the most often and have the intimate knowledge of how they normally behave and how things are regularly for them. And so they're most appropriately poised to be able to identify when there's a concern.
We've always worked well with the school district. We have good relationships with the counselors, different things like that. I mean, they know that they can call us with anything. When a worker is assigned, they usually have to call the referral source back, who, if it's a teacher, and get more additional information. The school can also help, if they know more of a background with the family, things like that, because it's better for us to know everything before we go out there, just so we know what we're getting ourselves into and also what we can do to help families. But yes, it's real important that we do work together to try to come up with the best option for these kids and the families.
When you go to make a call, some of the information that you're going to be asked for is the children's names, their dates of birth, their address, the parents' names, their dates of birth if you have them, their addresses, and a lot of other information about the family outside of just the concern that you're calling in. We try to gather information on what their social supports are, how they functioned like this in the past, or is this new behavior? What is the impact of this incident on the child? What do you see? How is it negatively impacting the child? Or are they kind of clueless and don't know what's going on, but the sibling does? It's also important to get a really clear picture of what you're concerned about and also what you saw and observed that told you something was wrong, because that helps us in making the best decisions possible to be able to decide whether a referral meets the criteria to assign, or that we need to screen it out, or that we can refer it for prevention services or community resources. You're going to spend about 20 to 25 minutes on the phone when you're making a referral, and we're going to ask a whole bunch of questions about culture and natural supports and what strengths this family has. What have you seen them do well? What have you seen them do right? You will likely not have all of those answers, but we're going to ask all of those questions. And it's okay to not know all the information. If you don't even know the parents' names or their dates of birth, that is okay. Still make the report. Don't delay just trying to gather that information. Don't be afraid if you don't have all the answers when you make a phone call. Just make the phone call. In Colorado, the Colorado Revised Statutes, the mandatory reporter law is an individual mandate, not an employer mandate. So it is up to each and every one of you to make sure that a call was made or make that call yourself. We know that every school district and every school has policies and procedures in place. We are not asking that those be violated by any means, but when in doubt, please make that call so that we can all work together and partner together to help keep these children safe. One other thing to realize, that as school professionals, when you're working with these children and these youth that you make a report on, if you have an ongoing professional relationship, meaning you're the school counselor, you're the principal, you're the teacher for that child, you're the paraprofessional for that child, you are considered a specified mandatory reporter, which by law means that you will get a letter from us from the department letting you know that the referral has either been assigned or not assigned. If it was assigned, who the caseworker is and their phone number so you can contact them to ask questions. And also notifies you the right to request more information in 90 days. As the school district, you guys have more contact with these children than therapists do, grandparents do, everybody but their parents. And it's important that we get your voice and we get your guidance on what works for this child and understanding and knowing this family. And so we just want to say thank you for those of you that have come and participated in meetings, and encourage the rest of you to do the same whenever possible. And we will forevermore have the opportunity to participate in them virtually, so you don't have to physically leave your school or leave your office to come and participate. But it's a great way to stay engaged with these kids and understand what we're all trying to work towards.
So every single assessment that we complete, we have to complete a standardized safety and risk assessment, and there's a tool that we use that there's 9 different questions that we have to assess for safety. If there's a yes on one or more of those questions, then we know that we have to get involved with the family some way or another. We usually do our safety assessments with the family while we're there in the home. We ask specific questions every single time that we go into a home. Our risk assessment, then, we complete a risk assessment. It has a bunch of different other questions, but it comes back either mild, moderate, or high risk family. Like if they have a lot of referrals, if there's a lot of domestic violence in the home, criminal activity, things like that. If the score comes up high, then we have to do what's called a family engagement meeting to meet with the family to make sure that, what can we do to prevent us from continuing to get involved? What kind of services do you need? And we always, throughout this whole thing, we try to see what we can do to help the family so that we're never involved, but that's just an additional meeting that we have to complete.
Each safety concern has to meet 5 specific criteria. Is it a specific and observable threat? Is it out of the parent's control? Is the child vulnerable to the threat of harm? Is harm likely to occur if not controlled? And is there potential for moderate to severe harm? Keep in mind, all 5 of these criteria must be present.
The public has a misconception sometimes about how or why we remove children from homes. One of the first things that we have to do is we have to make reasonable efforts. And those reasonable efforts have to do with safety planning children out of the impending or imminent danger. So we try to safety plan the children out of the home by using family members, friends, acquaintances who pass background checks and home inspections. If and when we cannot safety plan children out of the home or safety plan the alleged perpetrator out of the home, then we would have to either call a magistrate or judge or have law enforcement sign over custody of the child. Now, that does not mean that that is a permanent thing. We then have to then go to court within 72 hours and defend our position on these children being out of home. And that also gives parents and other relatives the opportunity to come to court to have these children put into their care. Whenever a child is placed out of their home, then it is our responsibility to notify the school that these children are in our care so that they can maintain the safety of the children by not allowing their parent or guardian who the child was removed from to come and pick them up. And we can also work with the school in getting these children returned safely to their homes.
So through the guidance of the Family First Federal Prevention Services Act, we are utilizing different methods to be able to work with children and families upstream so that really kids don't infiltrate into our system. So we're working on ways that we can work with those families and outreach those families sooner than later. And this could be by providing case management services on a voluntary basis. It could be utilizing our family coaches to help the families find different resources within our community, and really trying to maintain the child safely in the home so that they don't have to have an open child welfare case and work with the court. Anytime the school staff is working with the family and they feel like they could just use some extra wraparound supports for the family, in addition to what the school can provide, we would ask the school district to go ahead and call our child protection hotline. That's the referral process into our prevention team. We have a brand new prevention team that is strictly working with those families upstream to make sure that they can stay as a family unit. So if the school district isn't sure, they can call our hotline and say this might be a good case for your prevention team. There's a lot of different community resources available not only within our agency but within the county that can help families.
We have the Workforce Center with the TANF program. You can refer them to Hilltop. Hilltop has the Family Adolescent Partnership available. We have 211 that you can even refer a family to call 211 to get information on food banks or daycare or a variety of other community resources.
There's housing resources, there's, the backpack program, so there's a lot of resources that can be provided through the school district that get to that family and provide resources to that family so that, to prevent abuse or neglect. It's a community issue. It's a community thing that we need to address together.
So when I think about the value of having child welfare and the school district working together is that it really helps support families. And sometimes the schools have a better relationship with families to start with and can really be the bridge to helping a family be connected with their caseworker and then with their other providers that they're working with. And sometimes child welfare has a better relationship with the family to start with and can really be that bridge back to the school and the family and supporting the family and the child, kind of creating their community with the school and using that as a way to support families being successful without child welfare involvement.
We in child welfare firmly believe that children and youth do their best when they're able to remain home, when it is safe, or when they are able to be with their family or family-like relationships. This has been proven by research, and we firmly believe and work very hard to do this. When we do this, there are times when we do have to take some calculated risks in order for children to remain with their parents and in their home. This calculated risk is informed by an evidence-based risk assessment that we do, and we will mitigate these risks by the provision of services, ongoing case management, and what's very important is the relationships and the collaborations that we have in the community to help people keep their children in their home and these children to be safe. One important collaboration is our work with the school district. We very much value this collaboration. We very much value your opinions in working with children and youth and their families, and I can't say it enough that in order for us to keep children and youth safe in Mesa County, this collaboration needs to be strong, professional, and it is very highly valued. Thank you.